Praise the Lord, my beautiful blessed souls. I am back. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. Actually, today is, what is it, Monday? Yeah, it's Monday, okay? It is Monday, is it the 15th? Yeah, June 15th. Now, I know I haven't did a video in a couple of days because I have been on my little sabbatical. I had some things going on that I had to take care of. And also, just needed some rest, honey. But anyway, we are almost done with Judges. We are in chapter 20, and then I'm going to do 21, and then we are going to move on. But I did see, what was it? I think we ended off with problems, which was June the 12th. Now, June 13th and June 14th are actually some of the same. One says, oh, excuse me about that. All right, I'm fixing that because it looks a little retarded, but anyway. Okay. One says change, and the other says changelessness. And because this word kind of go together, we're going to break it down and see. I want them both, and then we'll go into the next one, which will be June 15, which will be peace within, which is actually what is we're gonna see how it's gonna flow in chapter 21. So just let me. I'm excited. Okay, so I'm gonna read change, which is June 13th, right? And it says, how can I find the courage to face change? Since change is inevitable in this life, we take comfort in the Lord who never changes. You can rely on his faithfulness that has not changed from generation to generation. His love that never shifts or dies, his promises that are rock solid, and his salvation that lasts for eternity. Cling to the one who controls the universe when your world spins out of control. Now, I'm not going to read them all because it's kind of lengthy. Lamentations 5:19, Malachi 3:6, James 1:17, Numbers 23 and 19. Then, June 14, changelessness. With all the change in my life, how can I keep it all together? You're going to see how this is going to. Change is the one thing that never changes. You can be sure that you will always face new challenges. Don't be upset like Jonah when your plans are changed. We tend to. Instead, build your life on God's word, because its truth is changes. When you face change, turn to God's word to maintain your perspective and to keep you grounded. Remember that the future inheritance that awaits you in heaven is beyond change and decay that will give you the peace. So that is, we're going to see Jonah 4:1 is the scriptures, Hebrews 1:12, Mark 13:31, and 1 Peter 1:4. Now I'm going to show it to you so you can see, 13 and then 14. I want you to make sure you see it so we can get into it. And then we'll go into 15 when we do 21, because we're going to see how this is going to tie into it. I read these over the weekend, but I didn't want to, I still needed my time. So I be needing my little vacation time. I need some time to just kind of relax and clean up and do other things. But anyway, so now we're going to look into this and we're going to get right into it. And we're going to see how all of this is going to, look into this chapter. Because when we last left off, it was when the woman was cut up and all that. Remember the concubine. Now, so then all the people, this is Judges chapter 20. Then all the people of Israel came out from Dan to Beersheba, including the land of Gilead, and the congregation assembled as one man to the Lord at Mizpah. And the chiefs and all the people of the tribes of Israel presented themselves in assembly of the peace of God, 400,000 men on foot that drew the sword. Now the people of Benjamin heard that the people of Israel had gone up to Mizpah, and the people of Israel said, tell us, how did this evil happen? And the Levite, the husband of the woman who was murdered, answered and said, I came to Gibeah that belongs to Benjamin, and I am my concubine to spend the night, and the leaders of Gibeah rose against me and surrounded the house against me by night. They meant to kill me, and they violated my concubine, and she is dead. So I took hold of my concubine and cut her into pieces and sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel. But they committed abomination and outrage in Israel. So behold, you people of Israel, all of you, give your advice and counsel here. All the people arose as one man, saying, none of us will go to his tent, and none of us will return to his house. Wow. But now this is what we will do to Gibeah. We will go up against it by lot, and we will take 10 men of 100 throughout all the tribes of Israel, and 100 of 1,000, and 1,000, 10,000 to bring provisions for the people, that when we can't come, that when they come, they may repay Gibeah, of Benjamin for all the outrage that they have committed in Israel. So all the men of Israel gathered against the city, united as one man. And the tribes of Israel sent men throughout all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, what evil is this that taking place among you? Now therefore give up the men, the worthless fellows in Gibeah, that we may put them to death and purge evil from Israel. But Benjaminites will not listen to the voice of their brothers, the people of Israel. No. What they did was, and the people of Benjamin came together out of the cities of Gibeah to go out to battle against the people of Israel. And the people of Benjamin mustered out of their cities on that day 26,000 men, who drew the sword, besides the inhabitants of Gibeah, who mustered 700 chosen men. Among all these were 700 chosen men, were left-handed. Everyone could sling a stone at a hair and not miss. And the men of Israel, apart from Benjamin, mustered 400,000 men, who drew the sword. All those were men of war. Now the people of Israel arose and went up to Bethel and inquired of God, who shall go up first to fight against the people of Benjamin? And the Lord said, Judah shall go up first. Now, it was a few questions that I was going to have, and that's going to be one of them. And I'm, making sure I remember. Okay, my notes. Then the people of Israel rose in the morning and encamped against Gibeah, right? And the men of Israel went out to fight against Benjamin, and the men of Israel drew up the battle against them in Gibeah. The people of Benjamin came out of Gibeah and destroyed on that 22,000 men of the Israelites. But the people of the men of Israel took courage and again formed the battle line in the same place where they had formed it on the first day. And the people of Israel went up and went before the Lord in the evening, and they inquired of the Lord, shall we again draw near to fight against our brothers, the people of Benjamin? Remember, they fighting against their own. And the Lord said, go up against them. See, this is what, because these are same, God shows we're all fighting against each other. So the people of Israel came near against the people of Benjamin the second day. And Benjamin went against them out of Gibeah the second day and destroyed the 18,000 men of Israel. All these men who were drew with the sword. Then all the people of Israel, the whole army, went up and came to Bethel and wept. This is the second time they lose it. So they sat before the Lord and fasted that day until evening, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. See, this is the difference. And the people of Israel inquired of the Lord, for the ark of the covenant of God for the ark of the covenant of God was there in those days. And Phinehas the son of Eleazar the son of Aaron ministered before it in those days, saying, shall we go out once more in battle against our brothers, the people of Benjamin, or shall we cease? And the Lord said, go up, for tomorrow I will give them to your hand. Now, I was wondering why it took so many times. We're going to get to that. So Israel set the men in ambush around Gibeah, and the people of Israel went up against the people of Benjamin on the third day and set themselves in array against Gibeah, as at other times. And the people of Benjamin went out against the people and were drawn away from the city. And as the other times, they began to strike and kill some of the people in the highways of which goes up to Bethel, and the others and the other to Gibeah, and the open country, and about 30 men of Israel. And so the people of Benjamin said, they are routed before us as at the first. But the people of Israel said, let us flee and draw them away from the city to the highways. And all the men of Israel rose up out of their place and set themselves in array about Tamar. And the men of Israel who were in the ambush rushed out of their place from Marageba. And there came against Gibeah 10,000 chosen men out of all of Israel. And the battle was hard, but the Benjaminites did not know that disaster was close upon them. And the Lord defeated Benjamin this time before Israel. And the people of Israel destroyed 25,100 men of Benjamin that day. All these were men who drew the sword. So the people of Benjamin saw that they were defeated. The men of Israel gave ground to Benjamin because they trusted the men in ambush whom they had set against in Gibeah. Now, then the men in ambush hurried and rushed against Gibeah, and the men in ambush moved out and struck all the city at the edge of the sword. Now, the appointed signal between the men of Israel and the men in the main ambush was that when they made a great cloud of smoke to rise up out the city, the men of Israel should turn in battle. Now Benjamin had begun to strike and kill about 30 men of Israel, and they said, surely they are defeated before us, as in the first battle. But when the signal began to rise out of the city in a column of smoke, the Benjaminites looked behind them, and behold, the whole city then went up in smoke to heaven. Then the men of Israel turned, and the men of Benjamin were dismayed, for they saw that disaster was close upon them. Therefore they turned their backs before the men of Israel, in the direction of the wilderness, but the battle overtook them, and those who came out of the cities destroying them in the midst, surrounding the Benjamites, and they pursued them and tried them down from Nohah, as far as the opposite of Gibeah on the east. 18,000 men of Benjamin fell, all of them are men of valor, and they turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. 5,000 men of them were cut down into the highways, and they were pursued hard to get them, and 2,000 men of them struck down. So all who fell that day of Benjamin were 25,000 men who drew the sword, all of them men of valor. But 600 men turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon, and remained at the rock of Rimmon for months. And the men of Israel turned and back against this people of Benjamin and struck them with the edge of the sword. The city of men, beasts, and all that they found, and all the towns that they had found, and they set them on fire. Whoa. Okay, so now there is so much to unpack. Now, there's so much, because there's so much going on in the story, and I'm like, what happened here? Okay, so now, in this chapter, we see the people of Israel, they responded to the outrage. We're going to get to that. It is some stuff that, was lingered on. Remember that. And that's why it's still there. So they're outraged, but in all actuality, they played their little part. This is what we talk about in it. So now Levite man, the concubine was murdered, of course. We know that. The Levite dismembered her corpse. That was another dysfunctional situation. So now he's going to tell them as if he's, the victim here. And we're going to get into that too. Because he had his part to play in it. Because you didn't have to do the corpse like that. I mean, come on now. And Israel's leaders react in shock and anger when he goes to them, resolving to meet to settle this issue. So now he wants help. Representatives from the 11 tribes, of course, except for Benjamin, of course, gathered at the town called Mizpah. This is where they located, and they have their discussion. They hear what, they ask them what happened, and, this is a formal meeting, so all the elders and leaders are there. So they discuss what happened and how to respond. So the meeting depicted here involves major troop movements, meaning the Hebrew word elef can refer to thousands or to divisions. And Israel sends 400 to Mizpah. Benjamin's tribe notices what is happening but does not attend the meeting. Remember, they didn't go. So the 11 tribes of Israel agree that they will not disband their gathering until Gibeah is held accountable. So they send out supplies and all of that, anticipating siege before attacking. However, Israelites invite the tribe of Benjamin to join their cause. Right? So Gibeah and Benjaminite city, the purpose of this is to submit to its punishment to those who are guilty. So they hope that the tribe of Benjamin will agree to bring justice, meaning hand them over. Instead, the Benjamites assemble their own force. They're going to fight. So they're not going to hold them accountable. They're not going to, see their part in it because they played their part in it as being a part of it. And they still continue to go along with it. So despite being wrong and about, all of this, they go about getting ready to attack to protect those who are wrong, the ones of Gibeah. So before their first attempt to attack Gibeah, the leaders tried, traveled to Bethel. At the time, the Ark of the Covenant was there. So the people asked God for his guidance, but only to know which tribe should take the lead. So the Lord answers Judah. And I wonder why that. I think Judah means praise, but anyway, okay. Should go first. So the next day, Israel's army forms battle lines and attacks Gibeah. The soldiers of Benjamin emerged from the city and counterattack. The natural terrain of Gibeah probably made it difficult to assault the people. Why? Because they're also fighting on their own home soil. So they know it well. So the Benjaminites are well prepared, and they motivated soldiers to kill about 20 of the invading, about 1 in 20 of the invading Israelite fighters. So after this humiliating defeat, the representatives of Israel traveled to Bethel once again, mourning their struggle, right? Because they're defeated, asking, God, should they, to the question likely should have asked, should they have gone in the first place? Whether it should be attacking their fellow Israelites alone, right? The Lord tells them to keep attacking. The second attempt, however, fails as badly as the first did. A total of 1 in every 11 Israeli troops, because remember, they didn't even actually ask them in the beginning. They just, asked them which tribe should lead. So this is kind of weird. This is more than the total of numbers of soldiers in Benjamin's entire army. In response, the entire group, including soldiers, travels to Bethel. So they appeal to God's will through tears and sacrifice. They once again ask the Lord if they should attack. And the Lord tells them to continue, and this time he promises victory. Now, the Israelites uses a strategy for the third attempt on the city. They position part of the army is hidden nearby, and they reform, so their strategy kind of changed. And then they attack again as before, but the fighters emerge from the city, and Israel's army falls back. So Benjamin's army falls to the trap, being drawn out of the city in pursuit of false treatment. So sometimes it's not even about who's stronger, it's about the mind, the battlefield of the mind. Only the remnant is left behind, and it's up to God if He's gonna allow you to have it. Once the city is vulnerable, Israelite soldiers is hiding and emerge and attack the city. So finally, the portion of the chapter begins with a summary that Benjamin is defeated, losing almost all the tribes fighting men. After Israel's false retreat draws out Gibeah's defenders, a group of ambush the cities and conquers it and sets everything on fire. The retreating Israel army from the prior passage sees the smoke, which is their signal to turn and fight the Benjaminite army, and the tribe of Benjamin instantly realizes that they are defeated. They attempt to run, and Israel's forces surround them, and they cut them off at the escape and slaughter them, nearly the entire army. Rather than stopping there, Israel's forces sweep through the territory of Benjamin, and they continue on, devastating animals, buildings, and people in terrible storm of destruction. The tribe is almost completely exterminated, with only a small number of soldiers left in hiding. So the consequences of the actions are dire. The tribe of Benjamin has been virtually annihilated. Israel now must decide what to do to prevent an entire tribe from disappearing. So this was severe. The following chapter explains the process of establishing peace and restoring Benjamin's future. So we have a lot. Sometimes and I'm going to talk about this little boy, Carmelo Anthony. Sometimes the punishment is we want severe, but there's necessary, there's severe, there's deadly, there's unnecessary, there's all kind of forces. And, even when you in any type of law enforcement, they tell you this. So it's like, I don't know. You're supposed to use necessary force, really, but whatever's necessary. But sometimes that just, this is what I'm talking about. Changelessness, changes that should be made, changes that are not. We're going to look at it. So now we're going to look at what happens in Judges chapter 20. This is going to be a lot. This is about war, justice, it's about trauma responses, tribal conflict, and divine judgment. It's all wrapped together. When we think about our own lives, and we think about the stuff, the battles we go through, the wars, all of that, because small battles and you have the big wars and all of these things. So it's conflict, it's confusion, it's all of these things wrapped up in one. It is the aftermath of a horror of Judges 19, and it shows what happens when a nation tries to deal with sin without dealing with their own hearts first. Oh, wow. Now that just sucker punched me. And Judges 20, let's look at it. A nation tries to fix sin without fixing itself. Now remember, if we are part of the problem, this is it. So what happened? Remember, after the Levite sends the concubine's body to the 12 tribes, well, Israel gathers, because that's like a total disrespect situation. So they get together, of course, they discuss, what's going on. So now what happens is Israel asks Benjamin to hand over the guilty men. Benjamin refuses. This is crazy. Instead, Benjamin defends the rapists. So don't that sound familiar in this world that we live in? And prepares for war. Their own people. Hello at that again. Doesn't that sound familiar? Israel goes to God for direction. God tells, but not for the actual answer, to go permission. That's the key. They didn't ask permission. They go for direction instead of permission. God tells them to fight. They probably knew they already wanted it. But Israel loses the first two battles. I want to know why. Finally, on the third day, God gives Israel the victory. Benjamin is nearly wiped out. They only have 600 men left to survive in their whole tribe. So now the key to this, we're going to look at their characters and what's going on. Now the Levite, he was a manipulative storyteller. Have you ever met those who are always the victim? Now, everybody is a victim at some point, but not all the time. We all have to choose what parts we play. And when you're telling it, tell it all, and don't tell and leave out the part where you was messed up and you was wrong at too. Because we all have that. Leaves out his own guilt, frames the narrative, of course, to make himself look innocent. Don't we see this? Change and chainlessness. Represents leaders who tell half-truths to gain sympathy. This is with money. This is to get over. This is manipulation. This is all of these things. When you see people trying to get over on you, victimhood is the main thing. They got a side story. Everybody has one about why people should feel so bad for them. But then they don't feel bad for other people. And this becomes a problem. Hint, breathe the experience. You have been out there. I love you to pieces. You've been talking a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, you're in a lot of same situations that everyone else is. And you got to be careful about that. Because when we start sitting here and talking about certain things, we have to look at it from both perspectives. And we have to pay attention to what's going on. Because although we may not see, we are in those exact same positions. You may think you are not, but you are. You just don't see it because you're in it. So now you'll be going against the people that you're called to help and be just like, instead of helping and helping them and move forward, you're making them the enemy, and that's not good. And a lot of times we tend to do this, and the enemy loves to use this against us to make those who are supposed to help us, comfort us, be there for us, make them the enemy. But at the same token, when you are seeing yourself as the victim, everyone is your enemy, because this is how your mind thinks. So we got to pay attention to that. Now, the tribe of Benjamin chooses tribal loyalty over righteousness, protects predators instead of victims. This is a problem we see all over the world. Represents communities that cover sin instead of confronting it. We see this throughout our lives. I am one of those people, because my whole entire life I was molested, and they said I was lied. It wasn't true. You know, my whole family, my mom, my siblings have treated me like crap my whole entire life behind this one thing that happened so long ago that they still to this day say I lied. They hated, never wanted me to have or do anything. And the warfare, I see it, has been in my own life, my own bloodline. These are the people, places, and things who are closest to me, who constantly are against me in life. And it is sad, because even still to this day, although they all know I told the truth, they still have issues, ill will, problems with me for no reason. I've not done anything to them, but yet, and then I see this when I go other places, like people have issues. I don't even know you. But it's like a rejection thing that is just sent out to be following you everywhere you go. That is a problem. And this is why it's hard for you to get help. So you go through so much extra stuff, because these things are following you. And it's like, it's a problem, because they're going against you, the ones that should be trying to help you. They know the truth. They don't care. They want to pretend. They want to, take the one who's guilty and make them look like they're innocent, while the one who is innocent and make them be guilty. And this is the problem. This is an issue. And the issue is a heart issue. Like I say, hate, heart. The heart issue, the heart problem. People who don't love you, it don't matter what you say, you could be right all the way. Victimhood, you don't even have to do. They will not like you. They will not help you. They will not love you. They will not assist you. They will be at odds, at opposition against you all the time. This is why after a certain point in time in your life, you got to understand, whatever you're doing to try to make people love you, make people like you, make people want you, you got to stop it, because you will never please them. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way, of going out of my way. Why? Because no matter what I did or didn't do, their heart posture, until their heart changes towards me. And this is what this is talking about. Changing the sin in their own heart. Why? Because you're trying to change sin, but you ain't start with your own self and your own heart. You can't change sin without doing that. You got to change the sin in your heart. Your heart has to not be hateful, resentful, and bitterness. It got to be helpful, loving, and kind and gentle, not evil and wicked and jealous and envious. It cannot be that. So the tribe of Benjamin chooses tribal loyalty over righteousness. And we see this a lot where people, these are all family members. So when you look at this, you have to understand this is family against family. Tribe against tribe is still family against family. So if one got hurt and you're not standing and y'all all going to fight over who did what and who didn't, you should be standing on the side that's right and not fighting amongst yourself. But instead, you're fighting. And this doesn't make any sense. Instead of confronting the true enemy, which is the ones who did whatever they did, no, you're fighting each other over protecting the one who did wrong. And it's just ridiculous. And we see that even when you look at the segregation, the white, black, all of this is the same thing. Folks know it is wrong, but yet they want to make what is wrong right. And they want to make you see it. And if you don't see it that way, it's nothing but the devil, is sickness, it's illusion, it's wickedness. It's in their hearts. That's it. So the other 11 tribes outraged, but also spiritually compromised. Why? Because they seeking justice, but without repentance. Represent people who want judgment for others, but mercy for themselves. Now, we can all want judgment, but how far is the penalty? This is where it comes, with the mercy seat comes. I will tell you guys, it's the movie called The Fisherman. I think it was on Netflix, no, YouTube. It's another one called The Shack. Beautiful, both of them. I watched them over the weekend. They are beautiful movies. You need to, because it's kind of shed a lot of light on me. God is present. So the mercy is, although we want to give justice, how much justice? Because remember, they almost wiped out. So they did do justice, but they went kind of overboard. You see what I'm saying? And this is where it was just a little bit much. Same thing, case in point. With this case, we see with this young man. Now, if it was the other way around and the white boy had killed the little black boy, would we even be having a conversation? Would there even be a trial? Would he even go to jail? If he went to jail, would it even been for any amount of time? These are the things that we need to look at. Not to say folks don't need to be punished. No, they do. But Why would you choose certain ones get punished and certain ones don't? They do the same things, but they don't get it. Or the one gets more severe and the other one doesn't. This is judgment and mercy. This is what this is all about. Now, God is present, but he's not manipulated. He allows Israel to feel the consequences of their own spiritual condition. Right? This represents true justice that exposes everyone's heart. Because you want justice, but to what extent? Do you want to kill the people? To what extent do you want this? And so, location and meaning. Mizpah is a place of assembly. This symbolizes national accountability, public reckoning, and collective decision making. So, Mizpah is where this stuff. Gibeah, Benjamin City, it symbolizes hidden sin, protected wickedness, yes, internal corruption, exactly, and a community that looks like an Israelite but lives like Sodom and Gomorrah. So, when you think this, no, can't be both. Bethel is the house of God, where Israel seeks God's direction. This symbolizes divine counsel, the place where motives are exposed. Remember, intentions and motives are always because people have their reasons. So now, what was the reasons? Because that's what I want to get into. Why the Benjaminites was it for money, power, success? If they didn't want them, did they have something that they wanted, those people wanted from them? Or were they themselves still idolatry worshiping and doing all these things? And it was, because then you'll expose why people are doing what they're doing. Because a lot of times when people know that things are wrong and they go along with it, it's because they're benefiting. And if it went right, they would no longer benefit. So when you look at these things, it just makes I don't care what people place a thing, if it's going on, it is only because at some point, somewhere or another, they're benefiting. It's their pride, their ego, it's envy, jealousy, it's covetousness, whatever it is. It could be downright they just hate you and don't like you and it don't even matter. And they just don't want to see you happy or have nothing. It's because it's you. That's it. You see? So when we look at these things, it makes a lot of sense. So justice versus vengeance, and this is the difference. Because remember, we have justice, righteous judgment, and vengeance, which God says is his. So Israel wants justice, but their hearts are not clean, so it's more leaning towards vengeance, right? That's where the anger and bitterness come in. We got to be careful. It does creep in when stuff happens. God allows them to lose twice to humble them. Ain't nothing like a loss 2 times. Ooh, Jesus, that hurt. Lesson, you cannot fight sin with pride. Ooh, that hurt, that stung. But yeah, pride and ego, you cannot confront evil with ignoring your own. So if that's that be about that life. That be about that life right there. It's that serious. So now, tribal loyalty versus righteousness. Benjamin chooses family over truth, tribe over justice, loyalty over holiness. Now, this is the same spirit behind church cover-ups. Ooh, family secret cover-ups. Oh, yes. Protecting the names and not the victim. Hello, corporations, all of that. Don't embarrass the ministry. Benjamin becomes an example of what happens when loyalty becomes idolatry. Ooh, what you said. That's all the folks that's in the church, the little girls that got pregnant and had to get rid of their babies or was put out, sent away. And you know how they do, to sweep everything that don't look good under the rug. That type of stuff. Oh, it's ugly. Ain't it real? It been going on. They got sent away. They was pregnant. Nobody knew. Or the mama ended up raising the child. Hello, let's talk about it. Folks sneaking in rooms and, everybody act like they don't see. And the child molested pedophile is still the uncle or the cousin that's sitting at the table. And for the Thanksgiving and nobody wants to talk about it. They just want to act like it never happened. And the person that said something is always the liar. Come on now. Hello, somebody help me now. Help me, Holy Ghost. And everybody's sitting there like they shouldn't say nothing. They should still come and act like everything is okay. And still around other kids, might I add. But anyway, God's judgment is slow, surgical, and strategic. God does not give Israel instant victory. He lets them lose, weep, fast, and offer sacrifices. Why? To examine themselves. Ain't that something? Only then does he give victory. Why? The lesson is God cares about how justice is pursued, not just that it is pursued. Ooh, don't that make a lot? Woo, don't that answer some questions? Because I was like, well, wow. Okay. Generational and lineage situations. Hidden sin. Here we go. Tribal collapse. Benjamin's refusal to confront sin leads to war, death, and near extinction. Why? Because trauma overreaction. Israel goes from punish the guilty men to destroy the entire tribe. Anger. Trauma often produces overcorrection extremes, all or nothing responses. Yes, I am, because God has to heal me from that. Because when you have a lot go on, anger, bitterness, it does creep in. And there is difference in justice and all out destruction. Vengeance. So it is, God has been working on me with that, because yes, I have been through a lot, and sometimes I get to a point where stuff triggers, and he's working on me with it, because my anger, I don't know, people who know me know. Nowadays I have come a long way, I must say. I have been the bigger person about a lot of stuff, I'm gonna tell you, because I used to just like fly off the handle and just boom, I'm just from 0 to 100. But God has been teaching me how to be patient, how to be calm, how to allow things just to go, and don't just flip out in 1 minute I'm okay and the next minute I'm jumping across the table and I'm acting crazy. See, God is teaching me how to do that, because it used to be my first response. You know what I mean? So now I have to, God's teaching me you could be angry, but you don't have to act a fool. You can, And with me, it's not every little thing. It takes a while for me to get there, but when I'm there, it's like I don't come back as hard. It's just some snap, and God has teaching me how to help with that. Now, this therapy and style diagnostic, we're going to look at it because we want to look at how Israel is when it comes to their traumatization as a nation, because they've been through a lot of things. Remember, these are the same people, but they're as a whole, not just the tribe of Benjamin, that were traumatized, enslaved. So the symptoms of traumatized nation with traumatization would be shock. People go through shock. Guess that's usually the first stage. Then it's rage. Then it's grief. And all of these have their own subliminal stages up under them, And then it's the need for justice. And then it's impulse to overcorrect. So Benjamin, the defensive family system, their symptoms are denial. We do that to hide it. Minimization, protecting abusers, refusing accountability, us versus them mentality, and a lot of times it gets like that. Now, the Levite system is the manipulative narrator. Symptoms are a lot of people like to manipulate. They like to be the instigators. They selective storytelling, victim playing, avoiding responsibility, using trauma for personal gain. And a lot of times people do this type of stuff. They like to initiate stuff. They like to have folks going at it. They like to sit back and watch and this is not good. God, who is the wise counselor, his approach is he slows the process down while to expose motives. He requires humility, he demands sacrifice, and he restores order. Now, why Israel lost the first two battles? Because this is one thing I wanted to know. This is one of the most misunderstood parts of the chapter. God told them to fight. But he did not promise victory the first two times. Oh, yeah, he didn't. Why? Reason one, Israel wanted justice without repentance. They were angry about Benjamin's sin, but blind to their own. Yeah, because we always, even though other folks are sinning, we have sin too. Reason two, they sought for God's direction, not transformation. And when we look at these things, when we sit there and we're like, oh, this one did this and that one did that. But when we're all doing something, you can't be mad when things is not going your way. Because usually, as long as it's going your way, you could do the opposite, do what you want to do. But the moment it's not going your way, then you have a problem. And then that's where you want to pick back and forth. Well, who's right or who's wrong? When all of y'all are wrong in some type of way. It's just that, you're benefiting here, and it's benefiting there, and as long as it's going your way over there, there's no problem. You can keep doing what you, and as long as you keep what you, that doesn't work like that. So reason two, they sought God for direction, not for transformation. They wanted answers and not heart change. Yeah, a lot of times we do that. Sometimes we avoid God altogether because we don't want to go through the whole, just like avoiding your parent, you don't want to go through the Holy Spiel. Reason three, God was humbling them before they could judge Benjamin. They had to face their own spiritual conditions. Exactly. So they can't point the fingers because they too were part of this idolatry stuff as well. Remember, this was one of them that was a part, and all of them have been for some time now. So they can't really sit back and be like, oh, no, you can't. Because just because you're a homosexual, but you're an adulterer, and you smoke weed, and you're in jail, and you lie, you cheat, you steal, you fornicate, but everybody point your fingers and nobody's right. Everybody got sin. See? You can't do that. Reason four was God was exposing motives. Israel's first question was, who should go first? Not, should we fight? Right? Are we right? Is our heart clean because this is against their own siblings? So they assumed they were righteous. God had to break that assumption, right? because God still doesn't want us fighting, even though because we're all his children, he doesn't want that. So, the near extinction of Benjamin. Only 600 men survived. This is the consequence of 1, protecting sin. Ain't that something? 2, defending wickedness. Choosing loyalty over truth. Refusing accountability. Benjamin becomes a warning. If you protect sin, you will lose everything. Why? Because people seem to think that that is the way to go. Being on the opposite side, the wrong side, because there's a multitude of people on that side. But as we can see, it doesn't matter in God's, because when it comes to God and his army and what he's doing, it could be plenty. The masses are going to go along with the sin because it's enjoyable. They're not going to want to change. So the ones who aren't is always going to be the ones standing out and at the war. But in the end, they're going to win. Why? Because God will use that one to defeat. Remember, 1 chases 1,000. So when you, and then 2 puts the 2,000 to 10,000 to fight. So when you think about that, it doesn't matter because it's not the person by themselves. It's God who's going to do it. And that's the bottom line. So spiritual meaning for today, we cannot heal what we refuse to confront. God will not let us fight external battles while ignoring internal ones. Loyalty becomes idolatry when it protects sin. Exactly. Trauma without God leads to overreaction. Justice without humility becomes vengeance. And God will let you lose battles to win your heart back. Why? Because we will protect people out of loyalty when they're in the wrong. I myself, and I tell people, because even within my own stuff and my own, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And it's not that I don't love you. I just need you to see that you're wrong so you can correct it and so we can move on. Love you to pieces is all that good stuff, and we can move forward because we all make mistakes. That's just the bottom line. But you know, a lot of times folks don't like it or they just can't see it. I've learned sometimes people just don't even see it. And a lot of times you don't see stuff when you're in it. You just don't. Now, how this connects to women, identity, modern culture, we're going to get into this. 1, natural response to abuse of women. And this is not just women, because remember the average, what's going on, the numbers of men are actually just getting to be ridiculous. We didn't, even with slavery times, the buck breaking, all of these things, they're not just about women and children anymore. We're seeing that this was also with men. So it's not to say women are the only ones getting abused or raped or tormented, and children. No, it is men and women. It does not discriminate. So this is going to show how communities respond to trauma, how systems protect abusers, how justice can turn into destruction, how sin spreads when unaddressed, how identity and unloyalty shape moral decisions. This chapter is a mirror for church scandals, family secrets, abuse cover-ups, denominational loyalty, cultural battles, Pride Month identity wars, fatherhood collapse, gender confusion, generational trauma. Judges 19 shows the womb. Judges 20 shows the reaction. And in Judges 21, we're going to see the aftermath next. Together they form a trauma trilogy. Okay, on top of that, hold on, because I said I wanted to know why they didn't go to his home. Okay, why was Judah... Why didn't they go? And why they didn't give up? Why did they give up? Other villains. And I want the meanings. Wait. Okay. Okay, this is what I wanted. Okay. And add, change, and okay, let's see. Okay, so now I put in what I wanted to know because I had a couple of questions, if you remember at the beginning, of why. Okay, so I wanted to know why was it? Because remember in the beginning it said when they went to God the first time, they told him to let Judah, the tribe of Judah, go up first. And I was wondering why was Judah? Well, I know because of Christ, but I'm not knowing as why yet. Okay, so why Judah goes first, right? Okay, Judah went first. This is not random. Okay, it's prophetic order. God chose Judah first because of destiny. Because even though Christ hadn't came yet, so okay, I get it. So Judges 20:18, Judah shall go first. This echoes Judah. Okay, the tribe of praise. Yeah, the tribe of leadership. The tribe of warfare, the tribe of kingship, the tribe of Messiah, right? Because praise is first. Why? Because we have to be thankful, grateful, okay? And when you're not, that's a problem. This is why, hence, everyone, people do things when they see that you actually are thankful. And when you're not, then they stop. But praise, leadership, and warfare, kingship, in the Messiah. So this is why Judah goes first, because praise leads the battle, right? Leadership leads the nation. Destiny leads the tribes, and the lion leads the fight. Here we go. God is establishing a pattern. My battles begin with praise and end with my king. So Judah represents God's changeless order, because I was wondering about change and changelessness, and we was looking at this because we need to look at it and what needs to happen. Even when Israel's a mess, even when the nation is traumatized, even when sin is rampant, God's order does not change. Judah is still first. God's structure remains even when people fall apart, even though we're out of alignment when it comes to our marriages, our homes. Remember, God still's not out of order. This is why things don't work for us, because we think because this is what we want, God is going to change the order. No, sin changed the order, and now we have to get back in order with God in order to get what God has for us. So when we think a man is going to dress like a woman and it's going to be blessed, no, two women are going to be married, two men are going to be married, there's going to be men and women looking like men and women and men. No, God, no, that's so everybody who's doing that, I'm sorry to tell you, they think that God is blessing that. Y'all know who's blessing that. It ain't God, not my God. So why then they go to the Levite's home? This is a brilliant question, and the answer reveals psychology of trauma and politics of shame. Because the Levite didn't want accountability. So they didn't want to go to his home, because if they went to his home, they would hear the full story, his role in the concubine's death, his cowardice, his manipulation. And he told a half-truth at Mizpah. He left out the part where that he pushed her out, that he sacrificed her, and that he abandoned her. That he wanted sympathy and not scrutiny. And see, a lot of times this is what happened. People will tell the story, but they will only tell the story when it makes them look like the angel. They will not put the part in there where they said and did certain things. I'm the type of person, if I said it and I did it, I said it and I did it. And I say it and I do it again. Why? Because I stand on what I say and what I do, unless it's something that's really ridiculous and outrageous that I should have just been like, nah, God tells me no. Because outside of that, I'm not just going to do certain things. Usually I'll think about it, or I'll be sitting there questioning myself before I even get to the point where I even have to say something, something's going wrong. Usually I'm sitting back and if I'm sitting there like, well, what is going on? Maybe it's just me, I don't know. But then by the time something pops off and goes left, I'm like, well, nah, this ain't me, because now you done went far left with it. And now I can plainly see, and usually the people can plainly see it's them too. But instead of apologizing, they'll continue on with it because they just don't want to be wrong. Their pride and their ego is in the way. There really was no reason for it, no justification. But they just want to continue on because they want you to look like you in the wrong, you the bad one, you did something. And in all actuality, that's not even the case. Admit you was wrong, you made a mistake, and move on. That's it. Or not be trying to do things that you don't need, think about what you're doing. Because Israel wanted a villain and not the truth. They were traumatized. They wanted a target. They wanted justice fast and not justice meaning accurately. And a lot of times people go to jail. They get put on trial. They die. A lot of things. And it's not about justice. It's about vengeance. People are hurting. They want, retaliation. They don't care who gets it. They just want somebody to get it. No. If you want justice, get it for the ones who actually did it. Not someone else, not just whoever. No, because that's not justice. That is vengeance. And God says vengeance is mine. So when we pay attention to we just going to randomly go around doing stuff to people just because, and we want to hurt people just because, and it's their children, so we can't get to them, we're just going to do it. And these people have nothing to do with nothing. That is a problem. God sees that. That is a serious problem. Then you wonder how later on you end up in certain situation. It could be the same situation you put these people in, and you may not see it because the circumstances of the situation may not be all the same, but it's still the same nonetheless. Now, going to the Levite's home would slow the process. It would complicate the narrative, and it would expose multiple layers of guilt. So they wanted a simple story, sound good, a clear villain, and a quick war, not the messy truth, which is usually what it is, because truth is usually messy. It's not just a black and white. It's a lot of gray, because this one did and said that, and that one did and said that, and by the time it got finished, this one told that side, that one told that side, but it's somewhere in the middle. And that's the part. So now, because the concubine died in Benjamin, not in Ephraim, the crime scene was Gilead. The perpetrators were Benjaminites. The outrage was directed at the location of the sin. Now, Israel went where the sin manifested, not where the story originated. And this was the problem. This was another thing. You got to get to the root of the problem. Because if the root started with your mama, with your daddy, with your sister, with your cousin, then that's where it needs to start. Everyone else is not to blame for all of what went on. No. You be angry, triggered about, and sometimes that happens, but you put taking out other people that it has nothing to do with. And a lot of times, this is what happens when people are triggered and they don't even realize it. Why? Because you'll take things out on the wrong people. And sometimes people are just messy, and then people got stuff going on, and you need to just leave folks alone because you really don't know what they're going through, and you may be the one that just get it for all other ones who been dealing with them and doing stuff, and they ain't got a chance to get to them. And guess what? You might just pop off one day, and because you just should have left them alone, you might be the one to get it. So that's just a hint. Now, why didn't Benjamin give up the villains? This is the heart of the chapter. Benjamin refused to surrender the wicked men of Gilead because, one, a tribe of loyalty over righteousness. Why is that? Benjamin said we protect our own. Even when they're wrong. No. I'm going to protect you. But no, if you wrong, you in the wrong. I've always told my children, if you go out there, you do certain things, guess what? I didn't raise you to be this way. When you are wrong, even in this house, when you leave this house, you are wrong. I don't care who, what, when, where, why, and how. You are wrong. And certain things I know my kids, and certain things like, listen. But when you are wrong, you are wrong. You say it, you admit it, you be done with it, and let's move forward. Don't sit here and be like, oh, it wasn't me. No, it was you. And okay, we all make mistakes. It was you. You did it. Own it, and that's it. That's why when it was time for them to get whoopings in the house, you went to school, you did. What did I tell you? Why did you do that? X, Y, Z. So, oh, she chastised. Yes, I chastised my kids because what you think I was going to do? God chastises us too. You think I'm just let them run wild and do what they want to do? Yeah, when you come home, it ain't abuse, it's chastising. Yeah, they gonna get spanked. I spanked my kids, yes I did. Why? Because if they get something to get spanked for, they got it. And it's not an everyday thing or all day thing. It's no. There's a difference between getting whooped or getting spanked and getting abused, trying to kill somebody. But anyway, and it depends on what they did because everything they didn't get a whooping for. Church cover up over culture, family secrets. Don't embarrass us. We handle our own problems and blood over truth. A lot of this is what we say. Benjamin choose loyalty over justice, and a lot of times it be a lot of iffy, skiffy things in there because it just it just don't be. It be a lot of shady gray. Pride. Benjamin was the smallest tribe. Small tribes often overcompensate with pride. Yep, defensiveness and aggression. They felt attacked, so they doubled down. Okay, fear of shame. If they handed over the men, their tribe will be disgraced, their reputation destroyed, and their power weakened. So they protected predators to protect their image. Now, this is what goes on. Even in the justice system, a lot of times folks will turn around and let the ones who are innocent go to prison and let the ones, because they don't take the time out to actually look and really do stuff. And then when the ones did do it, they want to feel so much, I don't know, it's like, if you're white or if you're any other race but black, you're going to get off. If you're black, you're going to get nailed to the wall. And this is not justice. This is vengeance. This is what they call, what is that, oppression. This is all these other things. And you could be even at your job or workplace and things be going on there. You got different places where different things happen. But just because you don't like somebody don't mean you have a right to invade their space or oppress them or antagonize them or harass them. Just like, anywhere else you are, whether it's at work, it's at home, it's with your spouse, it's with, the prison system, people that's just like driving down the street while you black. Folks will pull you over and take a night. You could be a doctor or lawyer. They don't know, but they just assume that because you're black that you're this and you're that. And that's shameful because you don't even, that's sad. Just leave it like that. And it says so much if I have to say any more. You're driving down the street and you're black, and you'll be treated better if you're a doctor, lawyer than if you're just a regular human being. You pull me over, just treat me with some dignity and respect. Fear, shame. So the fear, shame just got to be like, so fear, shame if they handed them over. So this is sad. And this is all about what usually goes on. Spiritual blindness. Benjamin had become hardened, corrupted, desensitized, and spiritually numb. They could no longer tell right from wrong. And a lot of this world is like this right now. Folks be so spiritually blind, and folks that's not even bothering you, but you have such issues and problems with them. Why is that? Folks don't know you ain't did nothing to you, but you are after them. You can't stand them. You want to do something to them. They probably was the nicest, kindest person to you in retrospect, but you just have such a disdain. For what reason? That's a you problem, not a them problem. Check your heart. Out of the heart flows issues of life. Change and changelessness. This is a prophetic thing because we need change, and changelessness does not help. Change. Israel reacts to trauma. They gather, they unite. They demand justice, they go to war, they fast, they weep, and they seek God. Trauma forces change. Changelessness. God's order remains the same. Even in chaos, Judah still goes first, right? God still requires humility. God still demands sacrifice. God still exposes motives. God still judges sin, and God still protects covenant order. God does not change because people are traumatized. Exactly. And this is what we need to understand. It's hard. It's not what we want to hear. It's not what we like. But yes, this is why when we're doing things and we're not getting God's susceptiveness, we wonder why he's not. It's because he does not going to change what he has in order to suit you. You have to get, and that's just like when you're in your parents' home. You don't like what they say, you don't like what they do. But guess what? They're not going to change their government they out for you. You got to get in line for them. And that's just how it goes. Ain't nothing changing. Okay, ain't nothing changing. Even the rent didn't change. Okay, change. Israel loses twice. So now God allows defeat, humbling, and brokenness. Because I want to know why he allowed them to lose twice. Because Israel needed their hearts changed, not just battle success. So their heart posture to change their way of thinking during these situations, which in the storm, in the, in the drought, in whatever season we're going through, a lot of times God allows us to stay in it because he's not going to change the situation until he changes you, so that you can see the situation differently. And a lot of times we don't like it, we don't want it, and that's usually what ends up happening. So now, changelessness. God's justice is assisted. God always judges sin. He defends the innocent. He exposes corruption. He requires repentance, and he honors righteousness. Even when the nations is unstable, God is not. And that's why even it doesn't matter who did what, because God is there. Remember, we all have to be forgiven of things from God, of whatever it is, and from each other. So because of this, when God sits in that judgment seat, and that's why you got to watch both of those movies because they were so good. Like I said, The Fisherman, I believe it's on YouTube, and The Shack, and that one was on Netflix. They are beautiful movies. They both gonna bless you. And Benjamin nearly destroyed. Their refusal to change leads to loss, death, and near extinction, because change is inevitable. Because if not, death is not changing. That's what death is. When you look up living things, it's movement, it's changing, death doesn't do anything. It just stays the same. And that's why. So changelessness is sin, and it always destroys. The wages of sin is death, and they do not change. The consequences of current sin do not change. The cost of protecting predators does not change. And Benjamin learned this the hard way. And it doesn't matter what it is we're going through in life, we see the homeless, we see people, take advantage of so many people in situations, that there's so much oppression and injustice, lying, cheating, stealing, whatever it is, in whatever fashion, folks are just taking away your rights to be here, to have life, to live and be in good health, to pursue happiness, joy, peace, whatever, and all that God has given us here on earth, the liberties that God has given us, not what man has given us. I'm talking about what God has given us, because see, what man says is different from what God says. See, God gives us liberties of all. Man gives us restrictions of what they want us to have, and this is the problem. Why? Because God gave man the earth to rule and have power and dominion, but the way that he wanted it ruled. That's why thy kingdom come, that will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Not the way man wanted. Not the way, they feel like it today, tomorrow, they want to kill people, they want to. No, it's not every woman, everything, and every emotion. No, it's the way God intended it to be. And this is why we see all of these things, because when we're out of alignment, we're not doing it God's way, we're going to see this, and we're going to continue to see this. That's why I say God can change things when you get ready. But then when you look at it from a perspective of we're all his children, and one may be in wrong in this situation and the right, but in other situations, they're wrong in other situations and right. So it's like, it's a lot with that, and so the movies kind of let me see things a little bit differently. And as a parent, it does too, because when your children fighting each other, you don't want them to do that. So it kind of, normal people, because some people, they want their children to fight. Some people, they instigate it. Some children, they instigate it with each other. They instigate it with their own children. Some parents, that's what they want. They don't want their children to succeed. They don't want their children to have anything. They want to take it away. This is dysfunction. That's sin. That's evil, wickedness. That's pride. That's ego. That is death and destruction to your own family, to your own bloodline. That is shooting your own self in the foot. That is destruction. So these people, especially the close ones to you, who do the witchcraft, who do the sorcery, who wish death on you, who wish nothing to happen to you, honey, you are shooting your own self in the foot. Please understand that. Because the bloodline is a bloodline, and if it doesn't move forward, it's going to be extinguished, as you can see in this tribe of Benjamin. So when all of those things are happening, it makes plenty of sense. So you're out there doing the sorcery, and eventually it's going to come back and it's going to bite you, because eventually it boomerangs back. But what it does is, because it's already in your own bloodline, you're just cursing your own people, your own bloodline, your own lineage, because God says it specifically. You will curses upon your children of the 4 generations. So think about that. So now when we look at the situation and they're doing what they're doing, and wonder why all this is happening, it started from long ago. So it's not like this just started. It started before me. It started before my mom. It started before, but you participate in it. So don't forget the part and position you're playing. Because although it started before you, you didn't stop it. It's continuing on. Either you're going to stop it and change it, or it's going to change less. Changelessness is going to continue to have it move forward. So now, the spiritual takeaway for today: when people refuse to change, God remains changeless. When communities protect sin, destruction follows. When trauma hits, God requires order. When leaders manipulate the story, God exposes the truth. When justice is pursued without humility, defeat comes first. When loyalty replaces righteousness, entire tribes fall. So, Judges 20 is not just a history, it is a mirror for these type of things. For families, for churches, for nations, for movements, for ministries, for generations, for companies, all of this. So when we think about these things, we want to pay attention to them. And then the next one is going to get into the next thing, which is 21. And honey, because we want to know how to rebuild. And I don't want to get into that until after we go into the next one. So, and that's going to be the final one for Judges, and we're going to be moving forward. So Judges chapter 20, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. This was a blessing for me. I saw myself in this. I saw my family. I saw all kinds of things. Because remember, all of the tribes are family. They're all God's children. So, including the Gentiles. Because remember, although the Gentiles are not the chosen race, or the chosen people, rather, I would say, they are engrafted in, and they are his children. He created us all. So, some of us follow God, our Father, and some follow their own father, who is Satan, Lucifer, the devil, and his kingdom and systems of the world. Now, no matter where they are in this demographic, whether it's the church, it's, whatever, government, this, that, whatever it is, ministry, generations, churches, families, nations, whatever it is what it is. So, I want to let this go. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We are bruised and not broken. I hope that this message was a blessing to you guys, because it was a blessing to me, and it was also an eye-opener. And please watch those movies, because I promise you, both of those movies are going to bless your soul. Like I said, one of them is called The Fisherman. I watched it on YouTube. And the other one is called The Shack, and that one is on Netflix. Both of those movies are beautiful. I got to watch them over this weekend, and they blessed my soul. So if you can, please do watch those. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And when I said I wanted to talk also about the young man, I hope that we see what's going on with this young man, Mr. Carmelo Anthony. I hate the fact that all of this happened on both ends, because I feel for the young man's family that was killed. Don't get me wrong. But I wonder if they're being a little extreme when it comes to this young man, and it's because he's black that they're taking it this far. Now, it's not to say he doesn't deserve to be, because he killed someone. Yes, he deserved to be punished. But to what severity? And I ask that because if he was white, okay, if he was white and the boy that was killed was black, would it be the same severity? And that will be my question. So now, are we acting like the Benjaminites here? Are we acting like the Israelites? Are we condoning? Are we saving? Are we, putting more on certain ones than others? Are we oppressing? What are we doing? Are we seeking justice or vengeance? And we see this a lot. And we see it in government. We see it in the justice system. We see it as people, as human beings with our own, preferences, or if it ain't a preference, then it's the other one, not racism, but what's the other one? I can't, y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so we got to look at it from all aspects, because my thing is, I want people to pay for what they did. Don't get me wrong, because we all have to. There's consequences. Even God tells us consequences to our actions. Don't get me wrong. But are we going to pick and choose when we're going to be severe, when we're going to not be? Are we going to pick and choose when we're going to react or act on something or say something about something that's wrong or point it out? And then, in certain people, places, and things we don't, we hide it. But then in other situations, when we want to, then we point it out. So now, which one are we doing here? Because either we're going to put it all on the table and we're going to deal with it all ugly, good, bad, and ugly, fairly, or we're not. But we can't pick and choose, just like the Bible. We want to pick and choose what verses they, believe in, which ones they don't, and all of that. Like, we can't do that. God never said this is a Fruit Loop box. We're not picking and choose whatever we want, having it wherever we like. No, we can't do that. This is not that. So, but I'm just leaving you guys with this because I want to, and we got to ask God about these things and check our own hearts and our own motives. So pain is one thing. Is it necessary? Is it extra? Is it, what force are we using here? Is it necessary force, unnecessary, or is it excessive? And when we look at things, we can pay attention and we can see that on a day-to-day basis as to who's doing what and what's being what, and how mercy and judgment is given and how severe on either end when it's felt like it and played with, and depending on your favorite or somebody you like or you don't like. That's just, is that fair? That's not fair. Because God is not a respecter of persons, places, genders, roles, no. Color, creed, money, status. He's not to any of that. So I love you guys. Be blessed in Jesus' name. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We are bruised and not broken. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. I'm gonna get to 20. This is Judges chapter 21. And we're going to get into that, and then we're going to close that one out, and then we're going to be into the new book, and we're going to be going into a fresh new book, starting something brand new. But I love you guys, and I hope this word was a blessing to you. Like I said, my Cash App is in my bio link down there. I think in my bio link down in the bottom of my page somewhere. But if not, I don't require people to I just want you to, subscribe. And I don't require you to donate, but if you would like to, that would be a blessing. I would appreciate it. God is my provider. And to all the new people that have subscribed, watching the videos and getting them out, thank you so much. I would love for these videos to get out to help other people. We are on this journey together each and every day, trying to walk and be in the world and not of the world, and to live like the Lord, and to figure out what is going on with us and in our lives, in a day-to-day situation. So this was the reason, that I, started this channel, and God told me to do it and allow me to do it and share, whether it's my testimony, it's my life, whatever is going on, so that I could be of help to someone else, because we are all here to be fishers of men and to do the work of our Father, and be about His business. So it is not the things of the world that remain. We can get bachelor's degrees, we do all that, we pursue it. And it can be a beautiful thing, it can help us see it, don't get me wrong, but the things that will always remain are the things that we're going to do for the kingdom. Those are the things that God is going to look at, not the things that we do here on our own, So, be blessed in Jesus' name. And it's not to say that those things are not important and not helpful. God does not see them, no. But He's of the spiritual realm stuff. So, we just, But love you guys, and welcome to the family if you're just starting out. Love you. I'm happy that you're here, and I hope that it's being a blessing to you and your family, and just share it to whomever you think it may be a blessing to as well. Love you. Thank you. And we're just looking for answers. In Jesus' name, bruised and not broken. Later. Love you guys.